Sorry, what did you say?
Are you?
No, I am not.
Because it's showing me tons of
am now.
dropped frame. Really messed up. I'm sending data out to the, but maybe try pictures.
Well, then I will talk to the room. Do. If you can even hear me. Oh.
Wow, this is really upstream.
You're not. It is hot.
Like 6 megabits per second.
That might be worth taking off all of the TP clients. Something malicious. That's.
I'm going to turn the Wi-Fi off on the phone. Just for S&G.
Okay.
Because I don't have... I was upstairs and, most of the laptops are closed and stuff, so there shouldn't be much on. I upgraded to iOS 8 yesterday. It's not that.
See, there it is.
And why is this thing... box isn't sending, but I'm going to close it anyway. I'm going to stop the stream and see what happens. The utilization probably got.
Well, you could do it at the. Why don't you try at the router?
I could.
One at a time, flipping off the DHCP.
Yeah, except I don't want to hit my box that I'm on. Let's see. Oh, it is showing me host names. Cool. So. Guy. Six. That's weird. It looks for all the.
Which machine?
The one I'm on.
Did you reboot that machine yet or not?
Yeah, I did earlier.
I dropped.
think I'm going to kill all these Chrome instances.
Can't you, let's see. In Task Manager Performance under Network, what is it showing for your outbound?
Good question.
I am sending 128 kilobytes a second. Now it is 48 kilobytes a second. Now it's 136. Keeps changing.
Yeah, it seems I'm sending about 2. Yeah. Doesn't appear to have made a difference, though. What the heck is going on? I haven't rebooted my modem.
Okay. So there is in Task Manager now, there's a network tab.
Yeah, the problem is, though, it's showing me my Ethernet connection. So it's showing, 2.1 megabits.
No. On the there's an app history tab,
Oh, okay.
and there's also on the process tab there's a network column. But on processes and app history, you've got network columns.
Wow, yeah. Mail, calendar, and people's like 28.3 megabytes, and that's the highest thing. That's just
Here.
those
What
are just
about
modern apps, though.
Yeah. I'm looking around. I haven't looked for this type of thing in a little while. But just on processes, sorting by network, right?
Yep. Yeah, Open Broadcaster software is using like 2-3 megabytes, which is kind of what I would expect.
Which you expect, right?
Well, it's green now. Let me look at my bandwidth again. Yep, now it's dropping down. Whoa. Microsoft cut 2,100 people?
Oh, wow. I'm reading this iOS 8 what's new kind of article thing. And it's like, added an Android feature. Added another Android feature.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's an Android feature too. Whatever, dude.
Which I'm happy about.
Oh, you have to use one now?
Yeah. For work.
Sorry.
Well, it's not pegged the same way it was, which is good. Okay, you want me to go ahead and call Simon?
I guess if you're feeling better about what does the chat room say?
What saith you, chat room?
Not too many people in the chat room tonight. I don't know if that is the cyclical summer effect, which I've never really spent much time measuring, but I know exists.
Yeah, it certainly does. Well, I know here that schools are out and people are vacationing or whatever. Okay, let's give this a try. It seems to have significantly. Although, unless it was some Chrome process.
Hey, how you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry about that.
Hello. That's all right. You hear me okay?
So far.
Yeah. So
Good.
far, so good. Hi,
Okay,
Simon.
good
How
stuff.
are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you
This
doing?
is Hal. That one is Jonathan.
Hey, Hal.
Hello.
Excellent. Okay. You guys sound very, very similar.
Do we really? I had not.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
We are both white, so you know.
That does help. That kind of helps to get the voices the same, really, doesn't it? I'll be the English one.
We are
The British one.
we are actually from. We live in the same town, but we were not both raised in the same
Okay.
town.
Huh. Well, maybe the accent's rubbed off.
Could be.
Yes, Jonathan. Yeah, the accent is rubbed off. So you sound like me, or maybe we kind of met in the middle or something. Do I sound Midwestern?
Yeah, sort of.
Is that fair to call you Midwestern, Jonathan?
Yeah, it is fair.
All right. Didn't want to start something.
How dare you?
So, Simon, you are obviously not from the Midwestern United States, nor the Pacific Northwest United States. You sound like you're somewhere a little east of us is where you were born.
Well, I'm actually from Kentucky. No, I'm kidding. I'm from the UK.
I know it. I knew it.
Yeah. There's a
I was
little
thinking
tiny
Kentucky.
hint of a British accent.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you aboard. We will
That's
get
quite
started in a minute, just kind of getting a feel for the audio, make sure that things look right on Jonathan's end. Jonathan is the home studio portion of the show.
Aha. The guy with all of the sound gear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, he has a lot of sound.
And one kind of interesting thing, if you hear squealing in the background, it's just my daughter doing bath time.
Oh. She must be at a fun age.
Yeah, she's 21 months.
Oh, yeah. That's
So, yeah.
probably Splash City in the bathtub.
Yeah, I'm actually quite glad to be out of that for a change. It means I can stay dry for the evening.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be adding water to your evening tonight, but both Jonathan and I can relate for sure.
It's been a long time for me.
Several. Yeah, I guess so. How old is Hannah now?
Hannah's 8.
Oh, jeez, man.
I know,
That's crazy.
right? It's crazy.
Yeah, I've got one, Simon, who is, my little girl is 3 years old, and then I've got a 5-year-old and a 13 and a 15.
Oh, wow.
Yes, a big range.
They're quite a good spread as well. Yeah. I was
we thought we were done.
Something with Brad Anderson last week. I never realised he's got 5 kids.
Oh, wow. How can you not realize that?
Yeah. No, what, sorry?
No, it's good. It's good. Sounds like we're getting a sound check from the chat room. We do have a few folks with us in the chat room. The way this works is that we will just talk to you for a while and basically just see where it goes. We don't know who you are, so we want to kind of hear, introductions and all that good stuff, and I'll walk you through it.
Cool.
Where we can find things to talk about that do relate to PowerShell is great, but it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to be talking. It won't be about PowerShell. It'll be about you and what you do, and things that we find interesting as we go along. So, no need to artificially bend things to PowerShell. If you see what I'm saying.
Yeah. Luckily, I tend to do a fair amount with PowerShell. So.
That's even better. Excellent.
Although the only thing I need to spend some real time digging into some DSC.
Oh, yes. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and the Wave 5 stuff's kind of neat. The fact that you can, just deploy Chrome if you want to.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
What were you saying, Hal?
I don't know what I was saying, but I'm now making a copy of the show notes.
Okay.
So just in a moment. Looks like, is 284 the next number?
This is
The episode?
285.
285, okay.
Yeah, 284
What
was
was
us,
that last
so
show?
it was us being interviewed,
Right.
so we didn't bother with show notes.
Yes, I do recall that now. Okay, cool. All right, give me a moment to bring the show notes up, and
Okay,
then I will...
the audio is going to drop for a second, but don't panic.
Okay, I will not panic. Joining us, what we will do is, those of you who have been here before, you probably know, put a couple of hash marks in front of your chat message, as was mentioned a minute ago. Thank you. And we will weave your questions into the discussion with Simon, which will start momentarily. Episode 285 is the number. Are you done twiddling with things, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm done. Basically, when you hear Skype start to crackle, I can fix it by launching the Azure for All interface and closing it. But when I do that, we lose audio to everything but the recording for, like a second.
Oh, okay.
Which you've experienced that drop before. I just never told you what was happening.
Oh, well, you made me very self-conscious by mentioning it.
Well, if you hear that crackle, just know to pause, and then I can do the thing and make it go away.
All right. If you say
Which
so.
you crackled, it's almost always the guest that happens to. So
Right.
it's kind of weird that it happened to your Skype. I don't know why.
That is weird.
Of course, I don't know why it happens in the first place. Something gets out of sync with the virtual audio cables or the Azio driver or something. I don't know.
If you say so, man.
I do.
All right,
but
well,
I'm the
then
only one who cares.
let's get going. All right. Oh, hold on. I missed my thing here. Okay, cool. All right, we're ready to go. All right, tonight on the PowerScripting Podcast, we are pleased to have with us Simon May from Microsoft. Simon, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you doing?
Great.
Doing pretty well. We are glad to have you. So before we get into it, Simon, I was hoping you could tell people a little bit about yourself. But if you wouldn't mind, can you go back to kind of how you got started in IT?
Ooh, how I got started in IT. Wow, I should probably break out a calculator and work that out as to exactly kind of how many years ago that was. It's one of those things that I really ought to keep a running total of, but kind of forget to all the time.
I've given up keeping a running total. Once I got past about 10 or 12 years.
Yeah, this is the thing. I think when you get past that, you just kind of start to lose the ability to remember anything. At that point, you've kind of so seasoned inside of IT that everything else before that kind of fades into the background.
So here's a benchmark. Here's a benchmark in time for IT careers. Did you do any remediation for Y2K?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a long time. I was I'll explain my Y2K story in a couple of moments, but I actually started working in healthcare in the UK, doing IT back when I was 16. I became an IT professional at the age of 16 years old.
Sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty early. That was as a result of some misspent time at school where I started hacking the school network, which was based on NT351. And then I ended up rolling out for part of the healthcare system in the UK, rolling out NT4 and rolling that out to a dispersed network across one of the counties in the UK, across Leicestershire. Probably, I don't know, I'm just trying to guess off the top of my head here, probably about 3,000-4,000 users or so. And rolling out the NT4 builds to them. But there was this thing called SIDS, and we were ghosting all those machines. then we found this little tool called NewSID, and that was used to change the SIDs on all of the machines that we'd deployed, which had exactly the same. That was interesting, has to be said. Yeah, because this was back when people really had no clue about doing rollouts yet, particularly of something like NT4 where it was completely new. So I got involved doing that. Then I kind of went through college, and I kind of kept using my my vacation times from college to go back and work in the same place. I then kind of college, by the way, in the UK is different. It's the period before you go to university. So between the ages of probably about 16 and 18, you go to college. Then you go to university from 18 to 21, 22. During that time, I went down to a place called Gloucester in the UK, and I worked for the UK's nuclear power generator, and I was working on an SMS 1.2 site, one of the first SMS 1.2 sites that MCS actually rolled out, and I was an applications packager. So I was taking apart various executable packages for installation and putting them back together again using, what was it called? The scripting application of the day.
Yeah, that was way back.
Oh yeah, that was pretty hardcore stuff. Then we had some guy from Microsoft whose name I completely forget. He flew over from Redmond to teach us how to use MSI files and Orca.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Very, really kind of scary stuff. Trying to work with databases and the environment that we were in there. We actually we literally controlled every single system file that landed on a machine. So every machine had exactly the same set of system files with exactly the same version across the entire network, probably 15,000 or so endpoints. Every application ran directly from a file server, so you could go anywhere and you have a true hot desking policy. This was probably back in around about 1999.
Wow,
give or take. Yeah, it was pretty cool stuff. Actually, it was good stuff to be working on. Then kind of the Y2K thing comes in. That was about 99, and then kind of 2000. My Y2K story. I was working back for the healthcare organisation again. They were a little bit worried about Y2K. I was slightly less worried about that. There's a small percentage that percentage chance that one of my ex-managers might be listening. But I took my on-call pager and my on-call money for.
And we're with you.
I think we lost him.
Did we lose him?
I think he's back.
Oh no.
So, okay. No, we're good. So you took your on-call money and your on-call pager, comma.
Yeah, to a rave, and I was on call
to a rave. Okay.
New Year's Eve, on the eve of the millennium, and the pager never went off, which was great. Yeah, that was that particular evening. Good money as well. When I finished university, finished college, and then I went to work for a bank, which was a US bank. Sadly, that was part of the whole kind of mortgage collapse, not through to managing servers, managing data centers, managing some. I actually did some DevOps, frankly, which was kind of.
So, how long have you been?
I finished the straight back into Microsoft.
So, Jonathan, what do you think about the audio? Hold on for a second, Simon.
It keeps dropping, and it drops.
And I'm seeing in your video. Yeah, I definitely am. So I'm wondering if it's
I'm having network.
Yeah, because your audio just dropped for me as well through Skype, even.
The bandwidth monitoring looked like earlier.
We're jumping around and waving, so it's hard to tell if the video is jumpy all the time. But I'm definitely seeing frame loss.
Yeah, I'm dropping frames.
So, yeah. Sorry, Simon. This was working on, but really quickly.
Just doing a quick test.
Yeah,
you dropped out.
Yeah, he did drop out, but it may be. You as well, Jonathan. I don't know.
Count to 20. Let's see if I drop out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Yeah, I heard you the whole time.
Okay.
So, what do you think? Did your bandwidth change at all the whole time?
No, it's pretty solid at about 2 megabytes up and only like 300 kilobytes down. So I think we're okay from a bandwidth perspective. But I don't know.
Alrighty. Then okay, well then let's keep going with Simon. Where did we leave off? Oh yeah, let's go back to it with Microsoft. So Simon, how long have you been at Microsoft?
So I've been here for 4 years now. I think actually, give or take a week or so. Yeah, 4 years. Of which I was in the UK for 3 and a wee bit. I've been in the US, based out of Cork in Redmond, for 9 months now. It's pretty cool. It's quite good fun.
So how long have you been doing your current role, which has something to do with devices and infrastructure, which we'll get into in a minute?
Yeah. So what I actually do for Microsoft is I have a multitude of official job titles. One of the strange things about Microsoft. So my actual official job title that makes any sense to anybody is technical evangelist. So I'm a technical evangelist in the core, the worldwide team. So we go out and talk to IT pros, create videos, create training, all that kind of stuff for the entire world that speaks English, because none of us actually speak any other language to any great degree. But so we're creating all that kind of that content, that great stuff that hopefully folks out there are able to go and use. And we kind of do that. But I've kind of tweaked my job title a little bit, because there's 51 technical evangelists around the world, and I wanted something slightly different.
So what'd you come up with?
Well, there's a strong reason for this. So the thing I came up with was enterprise device infrastructuralist, which is probably the hardest thing in the world to
infrastructuralist.
Yeah. Infrastructuralist. Yeah.
So isn't that like architect?
Kind of weird. It's a really old word. If you have a look on Wikipedia, you will find it. You'll find the word infrastructuralist, and it relates to a guy who he basically wrote a book or was the subject of a book about the great infrastructuralists of America. They're the guys that built the infrastructure that enables civilization for the way that we know it today. So things like roads and transportation and all the core infrastructure that you have inside of a country, the guys that build that are actually called infrastructuralists. So my thinking is that for the future, the most important things that a IT pro that's dealing with devices actually needs to do is build the infrastructure. Because as we know, those devices are going to change on a probably yearly, if not more than yearly basis. They're going to be far too fast to keep up with. So building the infrastructure to the right quality is kind of like laying the foundations, laying the roadways for everything to happen and work. And that's why I came up with it.
I like it.
Okay.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I can go with that. So what about devices? What does devices mean to you, and how does that differ from some of the disciplines of your fellow IT pro evangelists?
Well, honestly, I think of every every single endpoint as a device. So for me, a device can be the mobile phone in your pocket, the smartphone. It can be the PC, the desktop, the laptop, the Mac, the iPad, the Android device. It can be the petrol pump, the gas pump that you go to in the forecourt when you want to go and fill it with gas. It can be the till payment, the electronic point of sale device. All of those things are the devices that make our enterprises run. So those are the kind of the most important things for me to be able to empower, to make sure that those devices have the infrastructure in place that we can actually manage them and use them and keep them secure.
Okay, so now the next thing that came to my mind when I heard you start to continue to add more and more definitions of devices is Internet of Things or Internet of Everything. How does that, and has that, at what point did that kind of set of devices get added? I mean, because that's relatively new space that I think that the industry has been kind of thinking about more and more. You want to kind of expand on how you see this, as opposed to if you'd asked somebody about managing devices just a couple of years ago, you would have said probably mostly just the smartphones and the tablets, and you wouldn't have might not have included all the platforms. You wouldn't have called you wouldn't have called the desktops or laptops devices in the same way, perhaps, and you definitely wouldn't have been thinking about the point of sale systems and the ATMs and the this and that and the other thing.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, when you look at the space really holistically, is that although we've got all of that different multitude of things, the things you have in your pocket, the things you have on your desk, the things that do those very specific jobs for your business, they are actually the only three categories. And that's kind of where the distillation, there are literally just three sets of objects that you think about. And they're all, there's different ways of kind of pivoting that information. You've got you could take the who owns it approach, right? So you've got company-owned, company-owned devices, personally owned devices, and very tightly controlled company-owned devices is one way of looking at it. Another one is taking bring your own device, choose your own device, or task worker based. So they all kind of boil down to that. And I think that the industry's kind of got to that point over probably the course of the last 12 to 18 months. And that's because actually people have started to realize that the same types of challenges affect every type of device. So when we think about, you've got your amazing new smartwatch. Well, actually, that amazing new smartwatch is now storing corporate data because it's got email traffic transferring through it. So as a result, we need to be starting to think, how do we put the security in place that means that email traffic can be controlled when it's landing on that smartwatch? So we have to start thinking in
So in that sense, it's not a new problem. It's just a new problem in a different space.
Yeah.
Or rather, the same old problem in a different space.
There's no problem at all. Yeah. It's literally the only new problem that came about was actually the problem of ownership. Who is it that owns and is liable for the device? And in that situation, it's either going to be you or your employee. And depending on where you are, that can cause you some interesting things to have to deal with. California is a kind of weird place at the moment to have to deal with that, because you now have to reimburse your employees a reasonable amount for bringing their own devices into the office.
I heard about that. Wasn't that a law that was signed very recently? Yeah, just very, very recently actually, and it only affects California, which is very strange for folks that are outside of the US. And I've presented this to. I've actually, one of the things I do for Microsoft is quite a lot of executive briefing center events, which is essentially where, when you get to be really important inside of a company, kind of like the CIO kind of level, you then kind of end up getting flown to Redmond in order to be able to sit down with the product teams and have conversations about where the technology is going, where things are headed. And every time I explain that actually inside of the US, different states have different laws, that actually blows people's minds. Nobody really thinks about that outside of the US. It's kind of strange. But then when you get to that granularity... Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, because in most places...
I mean, I don't want to go too far in that tangent, because I'm like... I really love the topic, and I could easily go there as far as politics and internationally and otherwise. But I want to say, isn't it Switzerland, I think, that has different cantons, if I'm using the right term, or the right country? But there's not a lot of other examples like that.
Yeah, it is really rare. It's the European Union is probably another example of where the laws vary from state to state, but you don't get that many folks there's a fair amount of international business going on between them, but you don't get very many people that are regularly kind of moving between them and living in all of the
their day-to-day
so,
activities don't cross multiple domains as much.
Yeah, exactly. So it's an interesting kind of skew. It's one of the reasons I love this space, because it means that I get to have those kind of conversations and think about those kind of things. But in essence, it's all about, for me, it's the actual devices. As we sort of see this kind of funnel approach happening. You look at it for a start, and you've got smartphones and tablets and laptops and petrol gas pumps and whatever. Then it filters down to these kind of three categories. But then actually, even those categories just filter down to just something you've got to manage. So the infrastructure is the thing to concentrate on. And that was kind of the epiphany for me, really, is if you concentrate on getting the infrastructure right, it just does everything else for you.
So let's talk a little bit about software and maybe some of the hardware behind it as well. But as far as, so I've got an IT operations background for many years, but I've been out of that for about 2.5 years, working at a software company myself now. But before that, I knew what Microsoft offered in the way of management software. I was very big into that space, very active. But since I left, this kind of diaspora of devices has come along, and I'm trying to understand how did Microsoft, or how is Microsoft kind of changing the as far as the product offering to follow these new devices, because you're not going to load an SCCM client on your smartwatch, so that some of the methods and might be a little bit different. So you want to kind of talk about how Microsoft has reacted?
Yeah, sure. So there's a thinking about it from the people point of view is kind of the way that Microsoft does that. So when we think about it from an IT guy's point of view, one of the things that we're trying to do really strongly through the product set is actually to make it so that you don't have to learn lots and lots of tangential things. They just start to become part of the single pane of glass, and they integrate. And that's really cool, because that leads us down this kind of hybrid cloud approach, if you want to go down that route and call it that. And basically it means that if you're familiar with managing devices through something like ConfigMan, SCCM, you extend SCCM out to the cloud out using Windows Intune. And the advantage of that is kind of threefold when we're thinking about all these different devices. The first one is that you don't have to build that scale. We've done it for you. So that's the kind of the software as a service approach. That software as a service approach is exactly what the mobile devices are actually expecting. They all have pretty much, apart from maybe the smartwatches at the moment, even those are starting to get there, they have something called an OMA-DM client in there, which is an open management client, just built into the operating system. And that's just expecting to be able to talk back to an enrollment point, a cloud service, which is what we produce with Windows Intune, and that allows you to do the management. But the really cool thing about that is that it means that we can, when we have a new device come along, you don't have to roll out a ton of software onto the servers inside of your organization. You don't have to raise a ton of change requests in order to do the upgrade. It just happens in the background. It's just done. So a great example was we're recording this in the week where iOS Gate took down the internet, just about. Well, it certainly took down Twitter, because everybody was telling everybody else that they were downloading iOS 8 yesterday. As that was happening, we actually, in the background, we'd already updated Windows Intune to be ready for iOS 8. So as soon as those folks had actually done their upgrade, they could go and enroll their device, and it could be company managed immediately. If you had to do that on-prem, you'd probably have had to have gone and raised a change record, waited for it to get approved, raised an outage. The software was released on a Thursday, so you'd probably have had to have waited to this weekend, till Sunday, and given up your Sunday evening or your Sunday afternoon in order to do the software upgrades, and it could have gone horribly wrong, and blah, 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 blah. And it's just done for you. So that's kind of the threefold approach that we get by that kind of leveraging the power of the cloud, if you want, in order to do that. And we do it in other places as well. It's not just Intune. I think one of the most exciting places that we've done those kind of changes is actually inside of Azure, with Azure Active Directory. I'm kind of every time I think about this, I kind of think that we're on the cusp of 2000 again, moving from if you think of the way that we've had domains, Active Directory domains being run for the past kind of 18 years or so now, that has actually been kind of like the NT4 to the new Azure Active Directory Windows 2000 way of doing domains, the big giant leap forward we're about to go through. And I kind of find that really exciting.
Really, that big?
I really love the identity stuff.
So I'm not with you then. I don't follow. What is the big significant change here, other than it's in Azure?
Well, that kind of is it. We're actually enabling all of the scale without you having to go and roll out the scale. So when there's a new feature, you don't have to go and do an upgrade to your domain controllers. It's just done. It just happens. When we have a schema change, it just happens in the background. It's just done. It's applied to everybody's AD tenant at the same time. It's just occurred. So all of that kind of administrative overhead goes away. All of the headache of having to kind of organise those changes to happen over the weekend and all that kind of area. And it also means that we can do really new things that we've never really thought about before. So there's something that's out there at the moment with regards to being able to link into other SaaS-based applications. So tons of organisations use Salesforce or Google Apps. Well, it's now a between 3 and 4 click process of connecting your on-prem Active Directory through Azure Active Directory up to, say, Salesforce or Google Apps, and you get integrated authentication across the entire system. So it's that kind of power.
You're kind of skipping that conversation of that security review, and we've got to stand up a read-only domain controller in the DMZ, and there's a lot of infrastructure steps that did have to happen. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, we get to do that. But the cool thing about it is it's done in a way that we don't have to lose our ability to administer it. So one of the things I just adore this about the way that they've built out Azure AD actually is that when you want to do your deep management, you actually just open up a PowerShell command prompt, and then you input a command to connect up to Microsoft Online, and then bam, you can start to do all of your administration from PowerShell.
So does that use the existing, is this a separate module for managing directory services in Azure, or is it using the same module that you'd used for Active Directory previously? Hold that thought, Simon. I'm hearing a drop in the audio. Hold on just a second.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was...
Jonathan, how are your meters and devices and things looking?
Everything that I can see looks okay.
Your video seems to look fine, so maybe it is his side this time. Yeah, so, Simon, are you with us?
Yeah. I am. Yeah, I think we're still there. I think it's still there.
Okay, well. All right, let us roll on then. I forgot, what was the question I just asked?
Is it the same PowerShell module?
Oh, yes. Yes. So, is it?
Yeah, it is. It's exactly the same. There really is no difference. We are actually using exactly the same PowerShell. So we can go in there and do really cool things because we can manage the tenant. So we can say what licenses do we want to apply to a particular user. We can go and programmatically turn on multi-factor authentication. So everybody that wants to log on gets a phone call initiated by Azure to give them a second factor of authentication. Again, simple PowerShell to just go ahead and do that for all of the users in your environment, or to filter it out, take a CSV file, as you know, throw that in.
Okay, that's really cool. That actually sounds kind of like when you put it that way, that kind of gives you the idea that there's a lot of reasons that you would want to move your directory services into Azure, because all of a sudden you can take advantage of these features more easily without doing so much change locally. So, all right, yeah, you've just about converted me on that one.
it's really fun, actually. I have to say, I think there's some super cool kind of little things that are hidden away there. There's really cool new stuff coming out as well. There's one of the nicest things about being a cloud model is the fact that we can do continuous delivery, and so you kind of see a new feature lighting up almost every week at the moment inside of Azure AD.
Cool. So before we started recording the show, you did say that you do quite a bit of PowerShell. So when you kind of, I mean, we talked about the Azure. In this case, what are some other tasks that you end up doing in PowerShell or advising people and kind of talking about?
So I guess one of the things about the job that I do is that we build a lot of labs. We build a heck of a lot of labs, and we help people to try and make those as stable as possible. And in doing that, I kind of have this mode where I'll try and play around with things to do the development using the UI, and then I'll get a feel for it, understand how it's working, and then I'll try and turn that into a script in order to be able to make it completely and utterly repeatable time after time after time. So if you go on to say the TechNet V Labs at the moment. If you just literally type into your favorite search engine, TechNet V Labs, you'll find a bunch of labs that will take you through various bits of big infrastructure. And one of those things is building out actually a thing for identity, Active Directory Federation services. Using, I think I have a 120-line PowerShell script inside of that particular lab. And what I love about that approach is that we kind of take you through doing that lab using the GUI. But then we take you back to the PowerShell so that you run the PowerShell to make sure you did it right. Because there's nothing more frustrating than getting to the end of an hour lab and realizing that you did step 3 wrong and having to go back and repeat the whole thing.
Yeah, right.
So it's just the most annoying thing. So I spent a lot of time to trying to go through and build out those PowerShell scripts to do things as simply as possible. And I got into automation a long time ago. There's certain things I like doing. I like doing everything from a single console and not having to go and open up a remote session to a remote desktop session to another machine just to run a script on it. So I tend to use lots of invokes in order to go off and do that kind of stuff. But it's not just, I have this wonderful wide remit with what I do, and that means that I can kind of play around with identity using PowerShell for ADFS and Azure AD, but I can also use PowerShell to completely manage my config-man environments. So taking a look at my blog, I've got like a kind of sample script for deploying every Microsoft application that's available on any mobile device. So that script you run it against your against your config-man environment. It'll go off and get the iOS version of OneNote, and the Android version of OneNote, and the Windows Phone version of OneNote, and provision them all as applications that can just be delivered by config-man through the regular config-man deployment cycles. So that kind of stuff, I kind of find it really interesting to build those kind of things.
That is pretty cool. Awesome. So yeah, which blog were you talking about? Because I see you've got a couple that you post to regularly on TechNet and on SimonMay.com.
Yeah, so I actually post everything to SimonMay.com, and the TechNet blog is just a reprint, if you like, of my SimonMay.com blog. It just literally is a mirrored feed. The reason for that, strangely enough, is that when you can blog onto TechNet blogs, you get loads more views that way, because there's a bunch of folks out there that will only believe Microsoft information if it's on a Microsoft website.
Yes, I totally understand that. It's more authoritative if it is on that domain.
Yeah,
doesn't matter if it's the same person or not.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that everybody that reads my blog is sane, but I do kind of think that there's that it's kind of an interesting kind of thing that you find. It's also the place where folks inside of Microsoft go as well, because there are some people that I actually run all my personal blog runs inside of Azure websites, and it's it's running on a Microsoft product. It's all happily up there. It actually runs WordPress, and it's running Azure websites, etc., etc. There's some folks that think that the only place that you can possibly publish information is on there. It's actually directly into a Microsoft blog, and it's kind of funny because when you actually dig around and look around, you very quickly start to realise that a lot of all of the official blogs now from Microsoft, so things like the Office blogs, are actually running on WordPress. When you look at Scott Guthrie's blog, Scott Goo's blog, he's actually running that on top of Azure websites. It's kind of fun to be able to kind of dig through those kind of things and say, hey, look, there's this really cool thing over here that we can run up.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think that it's really pretty neat now that the available services within Azure, there's really a lot of things to play with, So, when you think about the virtual labs, which you mentioned earlier, once you have an account, you can really, start up and do a lot of things, either freely or very inexpensively. So it's kind of an opportunity for people as far as, self-learners, to really expand their horizons or try out things at work before, it's ready for production.
Yeah, completely. I mean, you can. There's some certain things that aren't supported, but you can pretty much spin up anything you want to inside of Azure IaaS. I highly recommend not spinning up an Exchange server inside of Azure IaaS. Some unsupported things around that, but hey, you can do it. It'll actually let you do it. It's just not going to be the best possible use of your compute time. But yeah, that stuff's cool. The ability to very quickly spin up a website is amazing. The identity kind of side of things is incredible. But then you get into the really cool stuff like Azure Machine Learning. And that stuff is incredible.
What is Azure Machine Learning?
It's basically the ability for anybody without writing any code to be able to draw a program which will help to analyze and inform you of the results of what's happening and deal with kind of bringing together huge amounts of data and processing it very rapidly for you. It's really cool. It's worth having a play with. And it's actually something we use in multiple places as well. So
Give us some examples of how you use it.
Well, there's this.
I've got the website up for folks to follow along. So I'm just looking at the website, which we'll have a link to in the show notes. Machine learning, powerful cloud-based predictive analytics, designed for new and experienced users, seamless connection to HD Insight, lots of other things you're pointing out here. But yeah, why don't you go ahead and give us some examples of what you've seen done with it?
Well, there's actually one thing which is super cool. Again, it's actually based inside of Azure Active Directory, thinking about it, but it brings together some other aspects. You've probably heard of this group inside of Microsoft called the Microsoft Security Response Center. Yes. They're the guys that are out there kind of working on botnets and stuff, trying to break them down. Well, they actually dump all of their exhaust information out into an Azure database. And what we do is we take the data from that Azure database, we take the information about where your users are logging on to your Azure Active Directory tenant from, then we use machine learning to crash those two things together. And we can tell you, based on that information about, what IP addresses might potentially be compromised by either a botnet or maybe it's malware. It could be coming out of the exhaust logs from System Center's anti-malware or any of the kind of Microsoft anti-malware products. We take that information, crash it together, and just deliver IT guys a report that says these users have potentially logged on from a device which is potentially infected with a virus, or is potentially infected with malware, or is potentially part of a botnet. You should go and have a look at this person's user account to see if it's really being used in the right way. And that information is just incredible. There's no other organization in the world that could pull that kind of information together and process it. because literally what we do with that report is we give an IT admin access to big data and in a single line of report. Say, this person might have a virus. Go and have a look.
Yeah, that's really powerful.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Very cool
and we
stuff.
can. There's also kind of the ability as well with machine learning. It will learn your usage patterns, or the usage patterns of all of your users. So I get into the office every day, 8:30 a.m. I sign in from my desktop in Redmond. Then suddenly I sign in at 9 a.m. from a Linux device in the Netherlands. That's probably out of pattern for me. So we're going to flag that to the IT admins to say, hey, this person's account may have been compromised.
So how can you imagine how one would bring this back to accessing data and information and making decisions and processing things from a PowerShell script?
Yeah, so you can actually download your say your Azure AD reports actually as a CSV. So you can pull that down using PowerShell from the then I guess automatically parse your script there, grok any particular users that have got an issue, and then actually I guess you could automate just turning on multi-factor authentication for those folks. So you've then gone from getting some analysis to some insight to some action, potentially just all completely automated with PowerShell.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So what about manipulating some of these objects, the reports, in the machine learning itself? Is there exposure to any of that from PowerShell commandlets?
I honestly don't know. I haven't tried to do any PowerShell against the Azure ML stuff. There's it kind of discourages you from wanting to think that way. It kind of, when you're using Azure ML, it kind of makes you want to think about things as if you're building a data flow diagram, and it's a very different kind of approach. I guess maybe there are some commandlets out there, but I've never really tried to investigate it. Actually, it's something that would be kind of interesting to do. Be kind of cool to be able to.
Well, I'm just thinking about how. Yeah. I mean, you can imagine anything that you would want to do from within the Azure Portal. There's commandlets to manipulate many of those things, not all of them, but that's kind of the point. That's what I'm asking. Is this different from anything else? Why can't you manipulate these? What I guess we're calling. I'm looking at the management portal right now. Machine learning workspaces.
Yeah, it's quite possible that there's a way to really easily interact with them over PowerShell. I never even thought about having a look, actually. That's kind of, that could be very, very useful.
Yeah, I'm trying to see, how quickly can I create one in order to play with it on the podcast?
Yeah, can we start to understand exactly where all of the people that are listening to the podcast actually are, and then can we actually work out what their mother's maiden name is, and all of the questions for all of their security questions. Hang on, that might be taking things to a little bit of an extreme.
Yeah.
But it might be
Okay, a storage account already exists with that name. All right, so I'm going to not get past that while I'm talking to you at the same time. So I'll just stop right there.
Yeah, that's going to be one of those little things. I was actually trying to set up automated backups for my website earlier, and I was like, I've got 3 storage accounts here, but I'm not sure which one's going to do what. So I think I'll wait. Yeah, it was
but for people who are looking at them, people that are familiar with the Azure Portal, this is within the Data Services tab, and it's just kind of amazing how when things are in the cloud, all of a sudden, you mentioned this before, new features roll out. Well, when there's a new item within one of these tabs within the management portal, there's a lot behind that, I mean, last time I happened to click through this, there was just SQL database and storage and, I don't know, maybe recovery services, but I know HD Insight wasn't there. and I know machine learning wasn't there. So, yeah, that's pretty neat just to see that things can magically appear like that. I didn't have to upgrade any software.
You don't see media streaming in there yet, do you, Hal?
No, Jonathan, I do not. That's a recurring theme, Simon. We're waiting for media services.
I want to be able to live stream the podcast on Azure.
No, I thought media services actually shipped like on Monday last week or Tuesday last week.
Huh. Okay.
I'm pretty sure that, yeah, I think it did. If you have a quick look at Scott Goo's blog, I'm pretty sure I remember him blogging that media services was on there.
Oh, that would make me very happy.
Okay, I see a media service tab, Jonathan. Quick create. Let's see if I have a problem with my storage account again.
This could be where you suddenly manage to, during the course of the podcast, turn it all over to running on Azure Media Service.
All right, I'm streaming.
Oh my gosh, it says live streaming. Oh,
really? Does it? I haven't done
yes,
that for
it does. Media services. It says live streaming.
Neat.
Wow. Okay, I know what I'm going to be playing with when we get some time.
You're a new favorite guest, Simon.
Oh, that is good
during
news.
The podcast, we've solved the problem.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yeah. We are crediting you with this delivery. I'm still creating mine, Jonathan, so I'm far behind you.
Absolutely take off. Actually, it's kind of
funny. Good job on creating media services. Yeah. Hold on a second, Simon. I think we're getting a little more dropping there.
We're getting some more gremlins running along the wires.
Perhaps. Okay. Posted September 12th, 2014, Azure SQL Databases, API Management, Media Services, Website Role, blah, 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 and more. So, yes, Jonathan, I will... Let's see. Live streaming, yeah. Is that? I guess. Were you looking at the? Are you in the portal or were you looking in the at the blog?
Yeah, I'm looking at Scott Goo's blog.
Scott Goo's. Gotcha.
Yeah, there's not much info on the live streaming on this, but hopefully somebody posted something interesting.
Well, mine is still creating, so see when that spins up. See what we can do with it. We'll have to play. We shall have to play. Good news, Simon. Thank you.
They have a live streaming webinar.
All right, we've lost Jonathan.
Okay. Yep. Sorry. I need to put this away for now.
I think there might be.
My media service has been created, Jonathan.
It's the way that everything just suddenly flips over to streaming directly from Azure. They've already used Azure Media Streaming for some really cool stuff. The Olympics for
I love the Olympics. That was pretty big.
Jonathan didn't have the heft.
Really well, Azure. Who'd have thought? Yeah, apparently we built it to do that kind of thing. It's kind of cool. I actually had a kind of fun little thing over the course of the past 24 hours, in fact. I had a post about enterprise mode in Internet Explorer and managing that through ConfigMan and Windows Intune. Got picked up by the TechNet Flash, which goes out to quite a few people, the global TechNet Flash. So in the course of 24 hours, my personal blog went from getting around about, I don't know, maybe 500 hits a day or something to getting 20,000 in the past 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, which is kind of weird. But it automatically scaled up.
Nice.
But I find it a period where I had a bunch of HTTP errors coming out of the website, and then it just resolved itself and it scaled. Wow. And it scaled back again after the big peak had gone, which was nice of it.
That's perfect. Yeah, I think it's amazing that they're like, yeah, we got this new thing, media services. What can we test that with? The Olympics. Yeah, that'll work. Let's test with the Olympics.
Yeah, let's beta test.
Yeah, nobody's watching that stuff. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did watch a lot of,
very successful.
and it works super well. I mean, I watched quite a few things live streaming from the Olympics, and yeah, it worked great.
Yeah.
All right, Jonathan. I just created a new streaming endpoint with a channel and applied an IP constraint to it. Yeah, I'm like halfway done, man.
Very cool. I just need to have the info to hook my open broadcaster software up to the endpoint, and we may be able to stream. That would be very cool.
And then we just have to figure out how much it costs, which is relevant.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be within the MVP allotment.
Yeah, it's getting it inside your MSDN subscription. That's the key task you've got there. It should probably be okay if you're not running too much else, but it is tricky to know. Although one of the things that I noticed as well when I was when I went in to check my scaling on my website, it was actually predicting how much it was going to cost me to keep it going for the whole month at full scale, which was kind of nice of it.
That's so cool.
So I knew what the maximum it was going to cost me was going to be.
Very neat.
Or rather, I knew what the maximum that was going to go into my corporate Amex was.
Which somebody would have to pay for somewhere.
Yeah.
Not you personally this time.
Somewhere.
Microsoft would have to send
absolutely.
Microsoft some money.
Yeah. Yeah, internal strange billing processes. I have no idea how those things work. But I think somebody somewhere walks over and gives Mark Rasinovich a check.
Yes, that probably gets a royalty for every compute minute on Azure.
Oh, could you imagine that?
No, I can't, actually. All right, well, Simon, running a little low on time here. This has been really excellent. Before we let you go, where should we send people to learn more about what you're doing there with your infrastructuralist designs?
So the easiest place is to my blog, which is simon-may.com, or if that's too much for you to type, smay.co also works, which is the short URL for it. And obviously I'm on Twitter. I'm at SciMonster over on the Twitters, and you can pick me up there, and I will have long conversations about anything to do with mobility with absolutely anybody that wants to get involved with that.
Excellent. Now, before we let you go, there's one question that we have to ask. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was actually just going to say, or I can, as I found. Have you seen this? The new thing on Twitter is the Twitter analytics. If you have a look at that, it shows you what your most popular tweets are. My most popular tweet, because I looked at of this week, is where I was having a rant about people still using command prompt instead of using the PowerShell ISE when they're presenting, and expecting people to be able to. Yeah, that was by far my most popular tweet. It was seen by more people than anything else that I wrote this week.
No, I haven't seen it.
Where is that? Yeah, I've not seen that feature.
Oh, if you just go to so apparently they've some people haven't had it rolled out to them yet, but if you go to analytics.twitter.com, you should be able to see it. It will hopefully let you.
Because I know exactly what my most popular tweet is of the week, because this happened today. So yesterday or today, when I was talking about a website for building regular expressions, and it's a really cool one. But yeah, just a ton of people retweeted it and happened to catch it. But it was just this crazy spike that I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, it's amazing how those little things are just super interesting nuggets.
Yeah, but you know which tweet has gotten the most impressions in the past several days? The one that says, "Tonight, SciMonster from Microsoft talks client and cloud on the podcast."
That's probably because I paid people to click it.
But no, this is a pretty cool site. Thank you for tipping me off. I did not know about that.
Wow, this is cool.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. I love it. It's nice if you're into your data. It's a nice thing to be able to see.
I have no tweet data.
One last question.
Yes, I have one more question. And once I'm stopping paying attention to this Twitter analytics page, okay, let me shift back my brain back into where we were talking about. Oh, yeah. So, Simon, this is a question that we ask everyone who comes onto the podcast. What we would like to know is, if you could be a superhero or have a superpower, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's really difficult.
Go with the gut.
Do you know, I'm going to go for something here, which I would go for the invisibility thing, but that actually is just wrong and gets me into too much trouble. So I'm going to go for Iron Man, because I just need a personal assistant that's as good as Jeeves in order to be able to run my life for me. I don't care about being able to fly. I don't care about being able to shoot laser beams out of my hands or pulse weapons. I just need a really good personal assistant, because I can never get to anywhere on time. So I think Jeeves could do that.
Which personal assistant are you talking about? Are you talking about Jarvis, or are you talking about Mrs. Paltrow?
Oh, I'm talking about Jarvis, and I'm just pulling Jeeves all the way through there. Yeah. Yeah,
that's okay.
I have a Mrs. Paltrow downstairs. No, I've got it's Jarvis. I need a Jarvis. I need some AI to be able to run my life for me.
So, follow-on question.
You need a Jarvis in Azure. Jarvis in the cloud.
There we go. So, what do you think of Cortana versus Siri versus Google Now?
Oh, that's funny. That is really funny. I think that's just fabulous. The way that it kind of those adverts that are out at the moment, the TV ads, they are really quite comical when you look at those, because it's just the fact that Cortana is that much more advanced than what is considered to be the de facto standard. It's actually super cool as well. If you have a look at if you start one of my little side hobbies, or it's become a side hobby, is watching where product managers go for various different organisations. Apple being one of them, and those guys they actually acquired a bunch of folks in order to build Siri. Most of them have left the company now, which is interesting.
All right, now I'm going to have to go look up these ads, because believe it or not, I had no clue what you were talking about, because I don't watch too much television.
Oh, they're funny. They really are. It's kind of Cortana and Siri talking to each other.
Yeah, it's good.
That does sound funny. You've seen it? Okay.
Yeah. I have to say though, actually, I've been using iOS 8 on my iPad for a couple of days now, and I kind of like it.
I haven't noticed too much difference, really, with iOS 8.
Yeah, it's
got all the Android features now, right?
Yeah, I need to change out my keyboard. That's going to be the best thing ever, when I can do things like, have the keyboard capitalize a letter when I hit Shift and on the keyboard itself, and when I can use swipe. Yeah, I'm going to be very happy.
Yeah, it is kind of amazing that they haven't discovered that there are uppercase and lowercase letters.
Yeah, that's just such a bizarre design decision in my way of thinking.
It's definitely weird. Considering basically every other keyboard does that now.
Oh yeah, and has for like 4 years.
Suggestions. Yeah, I love I actually quite like the way that it gives word suggestions on iOS 8 on the built-in keyboard. some of those word suggestions are actually quite good. I saw somebody, I think it was a journalist, but I can't remember which one, tweeted that they predict that by the end of the year, somebody will have written an entire 40,000 to 60,000 word novel on an iPad using the new predictive typing feature.
That would be funny.
You should see some of the emails that I send. I don't know about 60,000 words, but I could hit a couple thousand, no problem.
That's I think that what you might be wanting to do there is actually when you finish typing that email, delete it. It may be a little long.
Yeah. You know, okay, this is a long topic, but I work from home, and you know, how do I connect with people? I can either get on the phone with them or I can use electronic communication methods. But if I get on the phone with them, then that's other work that I can't do. So I kind of treasure the time that I'm not on the phone.
Mm-hmm. I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean with that.
Yeah, so there's some sort of balance there, which does tend to mean longer emails that I send, which, you know, there's negatives to that just in and of itself sometimes. So something I have to deal with. Anyway.
Yeah.
So Simon, let me thank you again. I just want to thank you again for coming on and spend time with us. This has been really awesome, and we always love to hear perspectives from different people at Microsoft, and yours has been a good one. So thank you.
That's quite all right. Thank you very much. I'll love to come back again at some point. All
right. So what we'll do, Simon, is Jonathan will do some editing, and an audio version of the podcast will hit our feed, and we will let you know when that happens.
Awesome. I will direct folks over to it. Cool stuff.
Excellent.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
All right. Yep. Thanks again. We'll talk to you another time.
Great evening, guys.
All right. You too.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Oh, I don't have stats on my keyboard. I haven't thought about that. That would be kind of interesting. I'm kind of my phone is not in a good place right now. I need to start over or try a new ROM or something. This performance is not good.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah. I'll be okay.
You'll find something better.
So how's the job going?
It's going really well. Things have been a little crazy, as you might imagine, the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But the stuff I'm working on...
Well, at least you're not on the security team.
Yeah, that's true.
That's cool. So, now you have things to research in Azure.
Yes, I do. I'm looking forward to checking this out.
Yeah, I'm wondering, how do you find out how much it costs? I've not yet found that part.
Yeah, I wonder if it happens on based on how many streams, like how many simultaneous streams, or how much data, or what. But either way,
I'm seeing something here called streaming units that may be related to that.
Am I on TV?
No, the video is not on right now, Stacy.
Can it be on TV?
Stacy's here, as you might guess from my... excuse me. I can try turning the video on.
Hi, Stacy.
No, it's too late. Jonathan just said hi.
I want to talk to Jonathan.
Oh, okay. All right, hold on.
You have to give me your...
All right, here's Stacy.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine. Do you watch Doctor Who?
No, but my son does. I've watched a few episodes, but I haven't taken the time to get hooked. Can I start watching with season 8 and just start watching there? Or do I have to watch previous seasons? Right, because it's a new
I guess
doctor, so I could hop in, right?
I know. You could, I guess, but I think you would be lost.
Okay.
Because I tried to with Chandler, and I was like, wait, who is that? What are they doing? I just finished the first season. I watched 2 episodes without Hal, so I'm going to have to rewatch them. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It is so good.
Now,
Like ridiculously good.
Which season did you start with?
The first of the new season.
So, which one's that?
It's the one with, I don't know how you say, Eccleston?
Oh, okay. Yeah, David Eccleston.
It's yes. I like him, and he's silly, and I just, the whole thing. Love it, love it, love it. Seriously. We have them. We bought them for Chandler for Christmas last year. So.
Yeah, I think they're on Netflix streaming. I think that's where my son watched all of them.
We're watching
this season.
We're watching them on Amazon Prime, I think.
Yeah,
Is
Arrow's
that how we're
about
watching them, Hal?
Arrow's about to start back up again, and the new Flash TV series is about to start. So that's going to be my TV watching time is going to get used up real fast because I don't have a lot of time for that.
I didn't start the Green Arrow, but I wonder if the Flash would be good.
It looks like it's going to be
Green
good.
Arrow is good.
Yeah, Arrow is a phenomenal show. It is really good. So I'm looking forward to to Flash, and apparently they're going to have some kind of some occasional crossovers between the two series, which should be fun.
I love crossovers. I loved it when Buffy and Angel crossed over.
Yeah, they actually had this past season of Arrow. They had like a 3-episode arc that had Barry from basically his becoming the Flash happened on Arrow, which was really cool.
I love it when that kind of stuff happens. Apparently, one of the characters in Doctor Who in the first season spun off into the show Torchwood.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't either. Oh. Now Hal's in the room, I guess. Hi, everybody. God, I just thought I was talking to Jonathan there.
You are, but everybody else is listening.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Hi, 8 people. 9. Okay. Hal's good at counting. Anyway, so it was really good, and I just had to come downstairs and share, and I was texting Chandler, our 13-year-old, and I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, how do you stop watching now? Help me. And he's not any help, because for about a week and a half, he watched the entire 8 seasons. Like, back to back. That's all he did.
Wow.
And, yeah, well, that was right after Christmas. So luckily he wasn't in school at the time.
Right.
And Cameron kept saying, Mom, that's all he's doing. And I was like, yeah, it's his Christmas present. That's all he's going to do for now. So, okay. I don't know what Hal I'm not going to say that. Schlag? Well, I first saw it and thought schlong, but there's no N. Okay, I'm going to give you back to Hal. It was good to talk to you, Jonathan.
Good to talk to you, too.
All right, bye. Oh my gosh, it was so good. You just don't even understand.
It is such a shame I stopped recording.
Never stop recording. So
that could be like season 6 outtakes. However many years you guys have been doing this.
Found the pricing. Oh, excuse me.
How's it look?
$200 a month per streaming unit, and that is for a 200 megabyte a second unit. Which, I mean, what does that mean? Does that mean that you can have 20 viewers at, if it's a 2 megabyte a second stream? I think that might be what that means. That's my guess anyway.
That's kind of expensive.
And then there's a live channel. I don't know what the live channel is exactly. And you get paid for the storage if you're retaining it. Yeah, so I mean, there's definitely a lot of things that might add up. But what I'm wondering is like, how would they monetize it? I mean, like, is there going to be a platform where they will monetize streaming in the same way that the YouTube does and all the other streaming providers that we've tried so far? They had built out a model where it was ad supported essentially.
Right. Yeah.
So this is a service upon which that something like that could be built, obviously, but that's but it's by itself through Azure. Then it's the pay as you go kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'll have to do some research.
Yep. Excuse me. But yeah, good that it got launched. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very good. Finally.
All right. I wonder if I need to turn off these things that I just turned on.
I wish I knew what was going on with my network when we started.
Yeah, that was kind of messed up.
Seems to have stabilized. I wonder if it seemed to stabilize after I basically went to PowerShell and killed every Chrome process. Which I don't know why, but it's Yeah, I mean, I killed some other running processes as well, but I don't know. Don't know. Oh well.
All right. Well, it's getting on into the evening, so I'm going to go ahead and let you go, man.
Yep. Take care. Have a good night.
All right. Talk to everybody else in the chat room another time. Good night. Good night.
Bye.